What's good, YouTube? What's going on? This is Thomas from the Bronx, here with one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Mr. Socrates Palmer Jr. What's good, bro?
I'm great. TGIF.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Today was a very interesting day. Pretty cool day for me, as you know. My son graduated from high school today. And,
Congratulations to Thomas Delamuth Jr.
Yes, sir. And and then tomorrow's even bigger day, in like less than an hour. He'll be turning 18. 18 years, a dad, 18 years of this dude in my life. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of this kid, you know what I mean? And you know who else's birthday is tomorrow, right?
Help me out, Tom.
Come on, man. You don't know who else's birthday is tomorrow?
The apple of your eye.
If she would have heard that, she would have died laughing. Yeah. She
said, as the boys used to say back in the day, your earth.
Yeah. My wife's birthday tomorrow, along with my son. What's good, William? Old school. What's going on, bro? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. Kiko, can you see the chat, by the way? So you could converse to the chat. If you see questions and stuff, you could comment. I don't know if you can see the chat on the studio. Are you able to see it? You should be able to see.
Comment. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm on my phone, but then I lose the camera. But I think I know what I look like. So,
unfortunately, right now. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much what's been happening today, and on a personal life, what's been going on in my life and stuff. But we're here to talk, bullshit and stuff. But we're going to talk a little bit of boxing. Maybe we could talk a little bit of baseball too. Not that my baseball team is doing any good. The Yankees lost again today. Extra inning, bad loss to the Texas Rangers, who's been pretty hot of late, having a really good year. And then your team pretty much won today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy because I think the team is kind of better than what people thought. I mean, we're still in last place, but it's the best division in baseball. In any other division, they would be like in first, like in the Central, and so I think the team is competitive, and I think that's an important thing as you head into the summer. Nothing worse than having a crappy team, in baseball, because it's torture. It's like death by paper cut.
Yeah,
you have to endure it for 162 days. I mean, games.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then to see a team with a winning record and then be last, and Yankees second to last. Everybody in the division has a winning record. They're playing over 500 ball. Right.
I mean, but you are missing your big, the best player, arguably the best player in the game, in Aaron Judge.
So, yeah. But still, no excuses. There's 8 other guys in the lineup, and there's other guys that's pitching, and there's a lot of factors. It's a team game. So,
right.
I mean, the Yankees do produce better when Judge is in the lineup. They do hit better than, the guys that are in the lineup that bat around him get better pitches to look at, But, with that being said, they're just not producing. I think they just look terrible at the plate. They're off balance. They waste a lot of money on, Stanton and Donaldson, and, and they've been horrible. They've been trash. They look like they don't know. They forgot how to hit. And Donaldson looks slow. Like
he looks old.
Yeah, he looks old. His swing is slow, and then Stanton's always been Stanton. Stanton is just a big, powerful guy. His mechanics is off, but he makes up for it with his strength. If he makes contact, the ball's gonna fly. But other than that, he's looked terrible. So, and those are the 2 big bats that we have that we're paying a lot of money for. Well, not me, but the Yankees.
Right. Well, and also Rizzo has kind of he started the year off hot, has really cooled off. Gleyber Torres, right? And Gleyber Torres. Gleyber, is always expected because he's got a lot of talent, raw talent, and DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu makes a good coin too.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment. Other than that first year when he came with us, he hasn't really done anything. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. But it's still a long season. No one and this is live, right? So
Yes.
no one on this planet, no one on God's green earth, like the great Harley Race used to say, hates the Yankees more than I do. But it's still a lot of time left in the season, and Aaron Judge isn't playing. Now, if you tell me Aaron
Yeah.
Judge is out for the year, then I'll be the first one to say stick a fork in them. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of baseball left.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Let's get to tomorrow's card. We got boxing tomorrow. I know you're more invested in tomorrow in the Garden, the theater, when the
Mhm.
main event is going to be Quigley, the Irishman, will be taking
Yes.
on the Puerto Rican, the chosen one from Brooklyn, Mr. Berlanga. And on the other
Yes.
card, before we get to that, on the card, I are from what you were telling me earlier. I don't know if you still are you going to be working with Bronx prospect Ofacio Falcon?
Working with him, but I will not be in the corner.
Okay.
I won't be in the corner. However, I will be in the arena. I'll be in the building, and because basically my work is done with him, right? You know, my work is to prepare fighters, and pretty much up until the last week. So we've done our homework. If I do work the corner, it's a privilege. Get one of the best seats in the house. But I won't be in the corner tomorrow.
Okay.
But I will be in attendance, rooting very with interest.
Okay. Nice.
So, Ofacio Falcone, who is an up and coming prospect. His name isn't bigger because he didn't have the national amateur pedigree like some of the other fighters, contemporaries. But I don't think he takes a backseat to anybody. He works hard. He took this fight on 5 days' notice against a journeyman who's 7-5, but he comes from Puerto Rico, and I always put stock in that. Where fighters come from. If you come from a place, from a fighting culture, like you never take a Puerto Rican lightly, you never take an Argentine lightly, a Colombian, someone from Philly, just people that come from hardened, great boxing backgrounds. You don't take those fighters lightly. But I have a lot of confidence in my guy Falcone to do his thing, and he is the opening bout.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah, opening bout on the zone.
Will you be sticking around for the rest of the card, or you're just more interested in your guy?
I'm interested in my guy. It's a business trip. I don't know if I'm. Let's see. We're supposed to get lousy weather tomorrow, so let's see how it plays out. It's not a great undercard, but there's a couple of fights on there that do intrigue me. There's an Albanian prospect from New York. On the butcher's name, Mati. He's a junior welterweight.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fighting. I don't have the bout sheet in front of me. He's fighting the guy that beat Josue Vargas recently. Who stopped him.
He stopped him. Yeah, it was an ugly
right.
Too.
Ugly stoppage, awkward fighter. But this Albanian kid is the goods. He's legit. He's going to bring a good crowd. Junior welterweight. So that's intriguing. You have Kalinaki, the Polish heavyweight.
Yes.
Against the Italian heavyweight, Cusimano.
Is that's on yeah, that's right. He's no longer with PBC. He's with her now, right?
I don't know if he's officially with her. He's just on this card. I mean, It's just a smart thing. I mean, Adam Kalinaki sells tickets.
Yeah.
He's from Brooklyn, Polish fighter.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like an athlete, but the guy could fight. He gives an honest effort. We've kind of seen what he is, and most recently he was beaten by a Turkish fighter. I can't remember his name. Beaten pretty soundly. Right? Yes, exactly.
So we got to see it firsthand. There were a lot of Polish fans there for him, they were chanting his name and everything. They even made fun of him after the fight. I heard some fans chanting too. But he does bring a good crowd, and that was the Danny Garcia Benavidez fight.
Yes. Polish fight fans are some of the best fight fans in the United States. They really back their guys. Either here in New York, New Jersey. Remember Thomas Adamek, or in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I remember him. Yes.
In Chicago, Galata, and then the light heavyweight that fought Chavez Jr. Help me out. A couple of years ago. Anyway, they support their people,
Mm-hmm.
So I expect, even though he's not what he once was, he's not this hot prospect like he was about 4 or 5 years ago. They're still gonna back their man. So hopefully it's a decent atmosphere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the main event. We have Mr. Pretty much this is supposed to be kind of a build-up fight. This is a fight where he's supposed to look good and look, maybe, look for a big fight if he was to look really good in this fight, and that's the chosen one, Berlanga.
Edgar Berlanga, Brooklyn, New York. He hasn't fought in over a year. June 11th, the last year he fought. He had the Top Rank machine behind him, the ESPN hype train. Then just a conflict of ideas. Top Rank thought that he should have been taking maybe tougher fights. The knockouts kind of stopped coming, and they parted ways. So it's going to be interesting to see the Edgar Berlanga that shows up. There was a weigh-in at 9 a.m. this morning, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah.
That indicates to me that maybe someone had some trouble making the weight. But like I said, the year layoff, maybe rusty. Jason Quigley, 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
How did he lose? He stopped twice.
Yeah.
Once by Andrade, and then the other one he was retired. I think he retired in the corner. So this guy's kind of tailor-made for Edgar. He's a smaller guy, but at the weigh-in, he looked like the fresher guy.
Yes.
He didn't kill himself to make the weight. His skin looked, clean. Didn't look drained. Even Eddie Hearn commented in the on the show. He said that that Edgar Berlanga looked a little nervous.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he's been talking a lot. Like I've seen him like in the press conference. They did a face-off. I guess they were doing pictures in in the city, and he's been talking. I mean, he's always pretty much, like Berlanga.
Yeah, Edgar. I'm not going to sit back and say I know him, but I know of him. And he is someone who kind of believed his own hype. And he likes the attention, and who doesn't, right? We all like to hear that we're great, but maybe he kind of put the celebrity before he put the celebrity in front of being legitimate.
Yeah.
And some people saying that he kind of got exposed since he's been taking the distance. He's been getting hit more.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I'm happy to see on his behalf, he went back to his roots. He's with his original trainer that turned him pro, Mark Ferret.
Mm-hmm.
For full disclosure, he's a personal friend of mine, the son of Pastor Ralph Ferret, who trained many fighters in New York, including world title contenders Darlene Jimenez, Giovanni Lorenzo. He was a staple in the New York boxing scene. And Mark is a no-nonsense, old-school trainer like his father was. So maybe we get, something different from Edgar Berlanga.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then you, in your opinion, watching the weigh-in, how did you like or dislike, the way Berlanga looked?
Well, his body, he looked like he struggled to make the weight. He looked kind of weak. But they're fighters that, he doesn't have like the Roy Jones, sculpted physique to begin with, right?
Yeah, no.
And that's fine. That's fine. This is boxing. This isn't, the Mr. Universe, contest. But I didn't like, if you look when they had the face to face, Berlanga shoulders are kind of like sunk in, and if you look at him, he almost has like a pot belly.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed. That's the first I saw him.
Right?
And that's why when I text you, I said
Hmm.
he doesn't look good. What do you think? And
Yeah. And now, and it's so funny because I didn't even know that you saw that. I saw that afterwards, right? And then I do, I'm not, breaking any stories. It's not a story because the kid made weight,
yeah,
but on Tuesday he was 7 pounds overweight.
wow,
He was 7 pounds overweight, and he- cutting weight it's amazing. I mean, people, I over dinner, I was telling my wife, I was like, this kid's got to cut 7 pounds, by Friday morning.
yeah,
And and my wife's been trying to cut 7 pounds for 2 years. So, so, and she looks at me like, how do they do it? And I said, it's water weight.
yeah,
you know, I was like, it's water weight, and it's, you got to be in there. I mean, you got the sacrifice these guys put themselves through, the Albaline, the sweatsuit, cranking the heat up to 90 degrees,
yeah,
hitting the bag, just sweating it out, and basically fasting for 24 hours. So, but how does that happen? Someone who hasn't properly maintained themselves. He hasn't
yeah.
fought in a year. What were you doing in that year? Now he has a little baby, a toddler, cutest thing. He's running around the gym. When you're a dad, you put on some weight.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's my excuse. That's my excuse.
How many years you been married now, Tom?
21.
That's a
21
good.
great years.
That's a good stretch, brother.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a good stretch.
William, I think you're right. I think is your wife around? Did she hear what you just said?
She is asleep.
She is. Okay. And
Asleep.
is her English like like Mark Anthony says, not very good looking?
No.
No,
No, she's,
Mark Anthony says my English is not very good looking.
that's a homage to Celia Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she fully understands and speaks. But yeah, I mean, Edgar. Let's see what happens. I mean, he hasn't fought in a year, man, and he likes living the hip hop lifestyle. Let's keep it 1,000.
He really does.
He likes
just had a
having.
video, like a few hours ago of him buying a big ass chain and shit. Like, this guy's coming, buying all this jewelry and flashy, and he hasn't won shit.
You should see his, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You should see his father.
Jesus,
his father's the same way.
Yeah.
And then I think he's got 2 other younger brothers. Hey, it's at the end that all that stuff is cool, right? But at the end of the day, you got to back it up. When you're in that squared circle, it's just you and some other guy, and what can I say? I mean, guys have been. He's not the first guy to be flashy. Hector Camacho, rest in peace. But he backed it up in the ring.
Yeah.
Modern era, Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
Adrian Broner, he's a bozo, but he gets busy in that ring when he wants to.
Yeah.
And I love AB. He gets busy in that ring. Edgar Berlanga hasn't built up
at different weight classes.
He's won titles different weight classes. Edgar hasn't built that collateral yet. He is they're billing this as an NABO, IBO title, whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, he's a top 10 in the WBO, right? Not a surprise. WBO based out of Puerto Rico, Paco Valcarcel.
Mm-hmm.
They always try to have a Puerto Rican fighter who is in contention, and all the spotlight on Edgar. Not only does he have to win, he has to look impressive, because if he does win, there are, just without even thinking hard, about 4 or 5 good fights that could be made.
Yeah.
And Eddie Hearn, he obviously everyone knows he's based out of the UK, but Eddie wants to create a brand here in the United States. He's had fights in New York, and he's looking at Edgar as maybe someone who could sell tickets for him. Especially around this time of the year in the summer, right? Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Yeah.
Let's say, Amanda Serrano, tremendous career. God bless her. One of the nicest people outside of the ring. A Hall of Famer, total class act.
Yeah.
But Puerto Rico's starving right now for a superstar.
Yeah.
So all eyes are on Edgar Berlanga, and not to say that if he knocks out Jason Quigley, it's like, oh, the monster is back. But you know what? Okay, let's that's a good step in the right direction.
A good start. Let him. Let's see. All right, now put him in with somebody that that's better, and then let's see what he does, because like you said, it's been over a year. He got suspended for biting, right? He bit his last fighter. He didn't look good in
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, he didn't look good in the fight before that.
Right.
Let's see what happens. But I'm telling you, it's not looking good for him right now. The weigh-in, he did not look good. Based on what you're telling me about the 7 pounds over on Tuesday, that's not a good sign. And he's a professional athlete, right? He's a fighter. He's not supposed to look like he's got a little pot belly. You're not a heavyweight. Some heavyweights can get away with that.
Right.
You're middleweight.
Right.
You can't look like that. So
right.
it's not looking too good for him. I like I always root for the Latino fighters, especially the Puerto Rican fighters, but he makes it hard to cheer for. Like,
I agree.
He's he does dumb things outside and outside the ring, and the biting issue, those are bad looks. Like, you don't want to be surrounded by by guys like that. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what happens. But will you stay to watch that fight, or you're gonna probably bounce before it?
I don't know. Truthfully, I'm not certain. Like I said, a lot depends on the weather. It's a long day because I have to be there around 4:00. So to stay there until like midnight, that's a long day. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. So I wish him all the best. Like I said, my good buddy Mark Ferrate is working with him. And I do hope he wins. I'll be honest with you. I'm not looking at it from a member of the media's point of view. I hope he wins. Yeah. Because it is good when a Puerto Rican fighter is a star in New York.
Yeah.
Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, that's the measuring stick. And Edgar has a long way to go, but a win is a good step forward. Yeah. Jason Quigley is working with I had it tip my tongue. Emmanuel Stewart's old fighter, Andy Lee.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's working with Andy Lee. Yeah, so that should be interesting. Andy Lee had a good career, a little underwhelming pro career, but under the tutelage of the great Emmanuel Stewart, I'm sure that he is passing down all the teachings that he learned from him. So it's Jason Quigley. He's a lot of confidence, and Quigley it's not like he's been that active either. I mean, he fought in April, but before that he didn't fight in 22, and then the last time was when he got stopped by Andrade. So you may see, I don't think you're gonna see the same type of rust, but sometimes I guess your body needs to heal. He's 32 years old, but if the weigh-in, if you tell me who. If you ask like the casual fan looking at the two this morning, or this afternoon rather, who looked better? I mean,
Quigley. Easy. Yeah.
Quigley. Yeah. And remember that video was at 1:00. Yeah. That video was at about 1:15, 1:20, and that was like the show weigh-in.
Okay.
The weigh-in that was acknowledged by the commission was at 9 a.m. That was the one that said, okay, boom. So these are guys that already, at least partially rehydrated.
Yeah.
And Berlanga's body looked like, hot spit.
That's bad. That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
right? So that
Yeah.
makes it worse because the video you sent me the link of the weigh-in. Basically,
Live, right?
that was not the actual weigh-in. Like they could have started,
Right. It's a show.
exaggerating up, and they weighed in before. So watching that makes it even worse because he looked bad to me. So and I tell you one thing, quickly, it's not like he's not a world beater, but he's not coming to lose.
No,
I don't think
no,
he's
no,
coming
no,
to
no,
lose.
no. He's not a
So
no. He's not a punk.
yeah,
He's not a punk. He's Irish. He's coming to New York, so he's gonna have his fans too.
yeah, there'll be Irish people
He,
up in there.
yeah, I don't think he's coming to New York to lay down. And like I say, he's working with Andy Lee, and I've always been an Andy Lee fan. That Kronk culture, which has traveled from the Motor City to around the world. Jason Quigley's a live dog.
Yeah,
I don't know what the odds are. So I expect a good fight. I really do.
yeah. That's for sure.
So what else we have on the docket tomorrow, Tom?
Well, I was more concerned with that one. I mean, I'm interested in Adames and J Rock a little bit. I mean, I think the winner, obviously moves on. The loser may have to think about, maybe retiring or, well, if J Rock was to lose, I would think that maybe time for him to,
Right, depends how he loses. If he gets stopped, then I mean, he's kind of come back, right? When it looked like he was on the outs, right?
Yeah.
He had two straight knockout losses, was it? Or two losses, and definitely one knockout, right? He got stopped by Rosario, and then the other one was a decision, right?
Yeah.
So
he's been and then because his first loss was a crazy knockout.
Right, which he bounced back from.
He did
against
Hurd.
Jermell Charlo.
Well, he got knocked out by Charlo.
Right.
No, and then he ended up beating Hurd.
Yes.
So that was his big win. I like J Rock. I always like J Rock. I like it. Is he still working with Breadman?
Yes, they are tied at the hip.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I always liked him. It's just his chin. He's been, he's gotten buzzed a few times. So and I kind of see this fight going like, I could see him winning this fight, on the cards, maybe to like the 7th, 8th round, and maybe get caught with something, and
Yeah, up until a certain point, right? Yeah. Like I mean, that's one thing Adames is. He's a puncher. Fights with a lot of confidence. And it's going to be interesting if J Rock has the discipline. First of all, the conditioning, the discipline, and the smartness of not getting into an exchange. Because he's really not a middleweight. He pretty much his whole career was a junior middleweight. If he doesn't get buzzed and how he reacts.
Yeah.
If you tell me who's the more between the two, who's the more well-rounded fighter, I say J Rock. But J Rock also has the most smiles.
Yeah.
So interesting. Adames is on the cusp, right, of a title shot if he wins.
Yes.
So he has a lot on the line.
Yeah.
So how is he going to handle those nerves and that pressure?
Yeah.
We don't know that. He's got the one loss, lost to Teixeira in the fight that he was ahead, and then he kind of just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Got dropped, and then lost the decision. So he's built himself back up. It won't be easy. I think Julian Williams will come to win. Just does he have it in him, to win 12 rounds, a 12-round fight?
Yeah. And then the other fight on that card is Erickson Lubin.
Yes, comeback for Erickson Lubin. Yeah.
Against Luis Arias. Yeah, they went at it in the weigh-in today. They were, kind of, head to head. So that seems that should be. I think that's a winnable fight. That should be I think it should be an easy fight for Lubin. Um, but you never know with him and his chin. I always thought his chin was a little suspect. But this guy's not really, a big knockout puncher. So
and and he took a beating. I mean, he gave a gallant effort against Fortuna. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
and
against Fandora.
Pandora, yeah, he did, yeah, and that was a good fight.
Good fight, but he took a beating.
He did, and what's funny is that he didn't really get, like in previous fights we've seen him get knocked down. He took it. He just his eye didn't. Obviously his eye didn't take it. So, and that kind of told me a lot about Fundora's punching power. It's more of his output than anything, in my opinion. But
the volume guy.
yeah,
Lubin. Okay, the one thing we know about Lubin, he was able to come back from a devastating loss. Right, he got humbled.
yes,
He got put in the trunk.
yeah.
Once again by a Charlo, a different Charlo. But
And he was talking a lot of shit before that fight.
Yeah, well, Erickson Lubin was a hot prospect. Remember, Erickson Lubin bypassed the Olympics to turn pro. And so he thought he was all that and a bag of chips, and maybe he took that fight probably a little too early in his career. And was that a second round knockout?
I think it was a first round knockout. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was a first round.
We have to check with BoxRec, but he got smoked.
Yeah, I thought it was first round, but maybe it was second round. It was early.
Yeah,
it was early. It was an uppercut. I think it was too. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And that's like when the Charlo brothers were like, they like whoa, that scary scary good. They talk that hot shit. Lions only. And they would talk. Walking like I talk it, right?
Yeah.
They were doing their thing, and Erickson Lubin, that was a highlight reel knockout, but he bounced back.
Yeah.
So credit to him. Let's see how he bounced back from that beating against Fandora. Arias, tough kid, Cuban descent, I believe, right?
I'm not sure.
I think he is.
He's from the States. I think he was born here, but I'm not sure.
Did he fight? He fought Danny Jacobs?
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a crossroads fight.
I think he fought Rosado too, and I think that ended up in a draw.
Crossroads fight.
Yeah.
Winner goes on, loser becomes the proverbial opponent.
Pretty much.
So it's those fights always bring out the best in both men. So it's going to be interesting. Anything else to note on that PBC show? Showtime.
Honestly, my mind is so out of it from this week's, events and stuff. I only know of the 4 fights. You put me on to a couple extras, and I only, and the opening fight is only because I know you're working with the kid. So, other than that, I mean, we had a fight last week. We saw Regis, fight, and he didn't look as good as we thought he would look good.
It's the classic case.
Yeah, fighting at home, right? You're fighting at home. It's your event. It's your show, and the nerves could have got to him, and obviously him probably wanted to stop the guy in front of the crowd, and the dance partner didn't cooperate. Right? It's like, he kept moving and moving. So, and that's not what they prepared for, and nobody really expected that. They thought Zorro was going to come at him and trade, and the first round was the best round of the fight, right? And they both were trading pretty much like after like the halfway mark. Zorro didn't get credit with a knockdown, which should have been a knockdown.
Yeah.
But then after that, he just he decided to be on the back foot most of the fight. So
yeah, I mean, you got if you say that Prograis underperformed, then you got to taken away credit from Zorro. Now, me personally, as a fight fan, I hate that style of fight, that Zorro put on. I mean, it was really hard for me to stay awake, but he fought, to his advantage. He made Regis chase him. Some people have kind of run with this saying, "Oh, We see a blueprint on how to beat pro grades. I.e., someone like Devin Haney, could do the same and maybe worse. But I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think Regis fighting at home. I think he underestimated Zorro,
Hmm.
who was a last minute replacement, I believe.
Yeah, it was. He
So
had 4 weeks notice, I think.
4 weeks. Well,
Yeah,
that's not a lot.
yeah,
Sorry, that's not last minute. But it is short notice. And Zorro fought the best fight that for him. It's a type of loss that his stock doesn't drop at all. However, he is an awkward guy, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be calling out his name. But his stock didn't drop. He lost to arguably the best 140 in the world.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
mhm,
Like anybody that watched the fight would say, I don't think they would care much for it, but um, he can go by that. Like he could still get a big fight based off of that. He could say,
for sure.
he can argue that he won the fight because it was
Hmm.
close. He can argue that it was only 4 weeks notice. He can argue that it was
Hmm.
that he's fought at the guy's hometown. So yeah, so
Hmm.
maybe he'll get another shot, in the near future.
Hmm. Hmm. And he gave a good showing. He gave a good showing, but he's not TV friendly. That's
No.
the one thing. He's not TV friendly. He's fights very defensive, cautious fight. Um, but let's see if his managers are able to parlay this into another, get him back on the zone uh, quick, right? Because obviously he didn't really take much punishment.
No. Yeah.
You would like to see him back in the next 4 to 6 months.
Yeah. And he's promoted, I think, with Kodo. So
Yes,
maybe
yes,
they could
Miguel
get him.
Cotto,
Yeah.
Miguel Cotto Promotions. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is, people may say this looks bad on Regis, but I think it's a good thing, because I think a lot of people are now gonna call him out and they're gonna be like, oh, I can beat this guy. And they may be in for a rude awakening, calling out
Hmm.
Regis and actually get in the fight. I think the big fight in that division, obviously if Haney moves up and fights him, that's a big fight. But the big fight for me, like a fan friendly fight, would be Regis versus Matias.
Another Puerto Rican.
That would be, to me, would be a great fight, and that could bring out Matias and maybe increase his value and his on his name. If he was to able to beat Regis, because Matias has that he's fan friend. He's a fan friendly fighter. His
Hmm.
defense is pretty much his face, right?
Right, fan friendly style. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so, what I'm saying. So but he can bang and he can get you out of there. So that would be that to me. That's the fight I want to see at 140. I know some people want maybe Lopez to come out and fight him and fight Regis. So there are some good matchups out there
Hmm.
um,
Absolutely,
at 140.
absolutely,
So very, very
absolutely.
interesting. And I think a lot of people are going to call out Regis and maybe in for a rude awakening. So
I totally agree with that assessment. And to his credit, you know, he didn't make any excuses. He said, that there's definitely things he's got to work on. He credited Zorro for a good fight.
mhm.
He says maybe he thinks now, that type of performance will get somebody to uh, believe that they could do the same thing.
Yeah,
I.e., Devin Haney, Bill Haney was at that fight
yeah.
scouting.
Hmm.
Obviously for his son. So it's up to the managers and the promoters to see what they could come up with the best fight for the fans and the most money for the fighters.
Yeah.
You know.
You'll see. Hopefully, it happens this year. I mean, we're already in June, so let's hope September,
Hmm.
October we see that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Tired of waiting. For big fights, people fighting only once a year now. And maybe twice a year. It's not like before. People, guys were fighting at least 3 times a year. We're not seeing that.
The money is different.
Yeah.
And speaking of twice a year and money, the big announcement of the week, outside of the ring is Canelo Alvarez signing a 3-fight deal
Yeah.
with PBC, and it's kind of his career coming back full circle, right?
Yeah.
Because Canelo was at one point under the Showtime PBC banner,
Yeah.
and September 16th is the date, and he'll be facing off against Houston's own Jamel Charlo. Jamel, right?
Jamel Charlo. That's what here. I
With
don't
an
know.
E.
Yeah, I don't
With an
know.
E, right?
Yeah, with an E. I don't know if that's confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, Canelo put it on his Instagram.
Oh, he said Charlo. He definitely put his. Okay, I know that the deal signed, but it could be any 3 fighters.
Okay.
It could be any 3 fighters. It didn't say who were the opponents. All we know is September 16th, probably around May 5th, right? Cinco de Mayo, and then maybe again next September. So probably those. So we know it's a 3-fight deal. We know the dates is pretty much, but I don't think the fighters have been confirmed yet. So,
Right.
I would hope it's at least Charlo, like somebody competitive. I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's somebody. Yeah. The other thing that kind of surprised me was
Jamal with an A.
Jamal. Okay, wrong vowel.
Thanks, William.
Good luck, Billy. What Benavidez and Morrell falling through?
I don't know what happened there. It looks like he's gonna fight what, Munguia now? No, was it Munguia?
Yes, that's apparently they're looking at Munguia as an opponent.
Yeah.
Which economically makes sense. I mean, let's keep it 1,000. I mean, they call this prize fighting for a reason, right? You fight for the biggest prize. Jaime Munguia is Mexican. Benavidez is half Mexican. That's a bigger box office than Morrell, and probably an easier fight. I mean, Morrell is.
I think definitely an easier fight.
Morrell may be the best freaking 68 in the world. So and Morrell really took exception to the fight, not being signed. He said all sorts of good stuff about Benavidez Senior. And, it came out of left field. I thought that fight was done deal.
Wow, but let me rewind, because we were there last summer, and Benavidez was there because we was at the Danny Garcia against Jose,
his brother,
Benavidez, right?
Right.
You interviewed Benavidez, and do you remember what he told you in that interview?
Help me out, sir.
I know he said it in Spanish, but I remember what he said.
Talk to me, brother.
He said that they sent out contracts to Morrell and Plant. Now that was just way before.
Right. Yeah, right before the Plant fight.
And you had asked him, what are the plans? What are who are you looking to fight next? And what are the plans? And he said he doesn't know. We've sent out contracts to Morrell and we send out contracts to Plant, and nobody's got back to him. And those were his words. I have the video too. I didn't delete it. And those were he said it in Spanish, and those were his words. Now he ended up fighting Plant later on.
Right.
But obviously it sounds like cap as far as speaking about Morrell. Because here we are, we could have had the fight with Morrell, and he's the one that pretty much looked like he's backing out to go take the fight with Munguia.
And you figure the fight with Morrell is probably the easiest fight to make, because they're both under the same they fight under the PBC banner, both under the same promoter, and Samson Lukowicz. I thought it was a done deal, so it really surprised me. But like I said, economically, I mean, you put your business hat on. The Munguia fight makes more sense. Munguia recently fought last week. It was a 50-50 fight. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You fight a Mexican. Obviously there's going to be more eyes on you than fighting Morrell, who's Cuban and who doesn't have the same type of fan base.
Yeah. Well, we didn't mention also one of the, if Canelo takes this fight with Charlo, it's definitely, it looks easy on paper, because Charlo, as William just put in the chat, Charlo hasn't fought in about 2 years. So he's looking to fight a rusty Charlo, you know what I'm saying? So
and it's no fault of Canelo. I mean, Charlo is a grown up. He's gotten himself into some issues outside of the ring. I believe did he bounce a check at a restaurant? Then I heard most recently he was complaining about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Instagram Live going back and forth with Andrade.
Yeah.
So and maybe he's just not as hungry as he once was. I mean, he's made decent money and now he gets to cash out against the biggest cash cow in the sport.
And you know what? I mean, you can't count him out either. I mean,
you can't right. If he comes in shape,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
He comes in shape. That's 2 years off. No mileage being used. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fresh. Canelo looks to be on the decline.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That mean, that could be. I think it's going to be a good fight if Charlo comes in good shape, looking to win. I think we're going to have a very good fight, and it's a winnable fight for Charlo. I don't think anybody should sleep on Charlo.
Naturally bigger man.
Yeah.
He's about 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
And obviously a very gifted fighter.
Yeah.
He's also been in some close fights that maybe he might have taken people lightly. The Devinchenko fight. What was it? The other Russian, the lefty. Can't. Come on, Willie, help me out. The left-handed Russian from Russia, not Devinchenko. The Russia. Older guy. He was good. He struggled in that fight. Let's see what happens. Let's see which Charlo shows up. My boy Ronnie Shields has a lot of work to do. And really, I mean, it shouldn't be a lot of work because if you can't get pumped up,
Korbov.
There you go.
Gabe is Gabe put that in the chat. Gabe that we spoke with last week.
Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate that. I mean, if you can't get up for fighting, Canelo Alvarez, then what are you doing?
And you know what? And where do you think that fight would take place? It'd be great in Texas, right? Wouldn't it be great to be in Dallas? That's
that would be great. I mean, he's from Houston, which is a couple hours away.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you could fight. You can make that fight at Canelo fought once in the Minute Maid Stadium against Kirkland. It'll still be probably a 75-25 crowd.
For Canelo, mate, yeah, probably.
Of course, not even close. They could fight. They could fight in Jamal Charlo's backyard because the same Mexicans that were mowing the lawn will be rooting against them. Can
I'll tell you one thing. About Canelo. He does have great mariachi bands in the intro.
Absolutely.
In my Chuck voice.
Yes.
Chuck from football.
Yes. Chuck Riley.
Damn,
one of the great
his full name.
One of the great principals in New York City.
He's a principal now?
He's a principal. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be a dick of a principal, probably.
I don't know.
Being a total dick as a principal.
You don't think he could be like my man from Saved by the Bell, Mr. Belding?
Nah, I think he would be he'll be a dick.
Be like the guy from The Simpsons.
The greatest quote ever. We was playing football with formerly known as Omar, Mr. Yadiel Ayala, and he said, "You know what, Omar? You do know how to put up the cones." He said, "Nobody can put up cones better than you, Omar."
Yeah.
Man. Fucking Chuck.
Chuck Riley. It's a good fight, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's a good fight.
We have a Canelo diminished.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Depending on what Charlo shows up, and we get a motivated, in shape Charlo, wanting to prove something. And I think that's success for a good fight, man, So
a career-defining performance. You know, I mean,
Yes.
Jamal with an A,
Yes, with an A.
with an
Jamal.
A,
Yes.
Jamal. You
Yes.
know, I mean, he's been in the pro for a long time, and he's looking for a career-defining moment. You know, he cashed in his lotto ticket, um, and let's see what Canelo Alvarez has left. You know, he
Mhm.
certainly didn't look great in his last opponent against Zach
Nope.
Ryder, not Zach Ryder, John Ryder.
John Ryder.
You know,
You're thinking
who-
wrestling.
I'm thinking, oh, it's always about wrestling. You know,
With
with John
John.
Ryder, a gallant performance. You know,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, he hopefully, you know, the swelling went down, and he'll be back in the gym soon because he has nothing to be ashamed of.
No, he
He
does.
made himself he
Yeah.
made himself another payday for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good fight for Berlanga if he wins.
Ryder. Yeah, that'd be a very good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be, you know, type of fight that I wouldn't be shocked that happens next if he wins.
Yeah.
So, and what about last week? Tim Zhu.
Tim's wow. Yeah, that was great.
Woo!
He looked really good. I mean, I don't
And
know
what's his name?
what's my motherfucking name. I don't know if
Somebody renewed their
Ocampo came to
Spotify.
win, but yeah, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I don't know. I don't Ocampo
I mean, I mean,
he got blown
Ocampo.
out of there. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't even
Tim
know what
Zhu's the
to
shit.
make of it. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Zhu's.
Yeah.
We can say it. Tim Zhu's the shit.
Well,
He's a shit. I think so.
I'll tell before last week, I still had Mel beating Zoo by knockout in like the 5th or 6th round. Before last week. Now I have Jamel stopping him maybe in the 7th or 8th round because
In a firefight, or I'm not, or like the way he like Castano,
no,
which
not.
was a firefight.
I think it'll be like the Castano fight. Yeah. Now
Hmm.
I'll tell you one thing: if we get the Mel Charlo that fought the first Castano fight, Zoo beats him. Zoo absolutely beats Charlo. I don't care what anybody say. If we get Jamel Charlo that fought Castano in the first fight, Charlo's not winning. He didn't listen to his corner. He didn't listen to Shields at all. He was doing his whatever he wanted to do. And Castano, it was a draw in that fight, and some people said that Castano may have won that fight.
Mm-hmm.
If we get the Mel Charlo that fought Castano in the second fight, he beats Zoo. That's how I see it. So I think Zoo is a worthy competitor, but he's gonna have to come here to the States. It won't be in Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his last 2 fights has been in Australia. So he's gonna have to come here to the States, and that's gonna be a more different.
Big adjustment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Mel beating Zoo. I'm not a Charlo fan. I don't like the Charlos. I like I respect what they do in the ring. I'm not a fan of theirs. I like I said, I'm a fan of what they do inside the ring. So I'll be rooting for Zoo, but rooting and who I think will win, 2 different things. And I think Mel stops Zoo.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, gun to my head, if they fought tomorrow, I would have to lean towards Jamel Charlo. But Jamel Charlo's coming off an injury, an operation. So you want to see how he comes back from that type of injury. Right now, Tim Zhu, he has to walk through the door sideways, right? Because his ego,
his ego is shot up.
Yeah, it's shot up. He's someone who obviously comes from boxing royalty, but he doesn't have this crazy amateur background, and he's learned quick. He has been brought up like the way the classic prospects are brought up. He's got some names on his resume at the right time. Tony Harrison on the decline, got him out of there.
Yeah.
Ocampo, a durable dude. I don't think anyone saw him getting blown out the way he got blown out. He got him out of there.
Yeah.
So Tim Zhu right now, no fear. He was supposed to fight Jamal Charlo months ago. The injury happened. So then they're not, there's no second guessing, right? his team is fully behind him. Like you said, which Jamal Charlo shows up, I think Jamal Charlo, the best Jamal Charlo comes out, because Tim Tszyu is on a hot streak, right? He's not fighting an unknown, like when he lost to Harrison, he wasn't smart enough, right? And even still, you can say he might have gotten jobbed, but he lost, right? But he avenged that loss by knockout.
And even in the second fight, sorry to stop you, Harrison was getting in
his
ass in the second fight.
He was up. He was up. Yeah, no Vargas, not getting his ass that way, but he was he was
Josue Vargas.
Oh, should I? And that's my guy. That's my guy.
That's my guy to an extent.
To an extent,
right? Like we root for the Bronx guys, we root for the Puerto Rican guys, our Latino.
Right. I fucks with him.
But that's as far as it goes, right there with Jose.
Right. Yeah.
I seen by the way, I seen video of him. He's back in the gym training. So maybe he's
with JIM or in the GYM?
The GYM.
Okay. Not with the Jimbrowski, right?
Not with the Jimbrowski. No.
Okay.
But then you don't know what he's doing outside the ring. So hey. I don't want to see no video.
Neither do I, sir.
Yeah. But I'll still root for him, in the ring. I want him to do well.
How do you come back from that shit?
It's tough. From what I've heard, Brian Martos. He's good friends with the family. He knows him.
I see his brother every day.
Yeah, and he says that he's a good kid. He's like he's not a kid. He's an adult. But
right.
It's you can't. It's not. It's he's a likable guy. So
he is. I mean, most people around you probably tell you that. I don't think he's not somebody you would copy his homework off of, but he's a likable person. I know him too. I see his brother all the time. What was the old Seinfeld line? If he's gay, it's not like there's something wrong with it, Obviously, right? I don't know I forgot who he's talking to. I don't know if he's talking to Kramer or Elaine, but about somebody, But like I said, it's just it is what it is. But even though, let's face it, even prior to the foolery.
Yeah.
I think he was on the decline. At this stage, he was probably had one more payday left in him, and he was going to be used as an opponent. Because when you lose that punch resistance,
it's pretty much, and that's 2 straight devastating knockouts. So
yeah, he got humbled by Cepeda, and then losing to the gentleman that's fighting tomorrow, ironically. So it's I don't envy the people around him. How's that?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. What else we got on the docket, Tom?
That's it, buddy. Like I said, it's been a busy week for me. Tomorrow gets busier. What tomorrow is now.
That's right. Happy birthday to Elizabeth. Can I say that?
I don't. She's in the room right now. I don't know if she passed out.
Okay.
I think my daughter's there with her, so I don't think she's sleeping because my daughter's in the room, unless they fell asleep on my bed and I'm stuck on the couch today. But I see that my daughter's room is open and the lights out, so she must be in the room. So, but yeah.
There was another good fight that got signed by our buddy Eddie Hearn. He's very excited. I'm trying to very, very excited. Big fight on the zone. Bam Rodriguez, who was one of the most exciting fighters in the world, against Edwards in the flyweight.
That's a good fight.
A unification fight, so to speak. So that should happen. I'm probably assuming in the fall.
Okay.
Venue to be named later, so that's something to look forward to. And we're also getting closer to Inouye and Fulton. So it
Right,
should be a decent summer, right? With
yeah. July is around the corner.
the summer
So
always flies by.
yeah, and then we got two big fights in July. We got the Monster Inoue versus Cool Boy Steph, and then
Mm-hmm.
in that same week, the big one, the
Yeah,
granddaddy of them all, baby.
think
You
so.
got Spence versus Crawford. We're gonna definitely do something on that. I got to get Gabe on here so you guys can do your back and forth because Gabe is gonna go for his guy.
It's a
So
shame. I mean, in a different world, right? Those two fights would be on the same night. You know,
yeah,
um, because I mean, and it would only benefit each other. I mean, I know because they named the undercard. I saw on Fight News, and outside of Pitbull Cruz, there's nobody really of note.
yeah,
You know, and but it would. How cool would it have been if they were able to put, you know, that Inoue Fulton and Bud Crawford and Spence on the same show? That would be amazing.
that'd have been
But
great.
those days are long gone. Of
Yeah.
Don King hitting you with Chavez, Trinidad, and Julian Jackson all on one night.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry Norris. So, but either way, big July will be a big month in boxing.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be big. I mean, we would have to get Inoue to come here to the States because that fight's, in his hometown. That's it.
Yeah, the monster. So Fulton, as we all know, is a live dog.
Yes.
So
I'm picking Fulton to win the fight. He's the bigger guy.
naturally bigger man, yes.
Not the bigger guy too.
I'm still on the fence. I still don't know because it's a tall task. I mean, one thing is to go on the road, but to travel halfway around the world is a different thing.
Yeah.
That's big. That's from Philly to Japan. How long is that flight?
I couldn't tell you. I'm guessing around 20 hours or so. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So let's hopefully Fulton gets there with enough time to get his body acclimated to the time zone. Because you take a flight that's that long, your body's shot for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So hopefully his team invest the resources to get him there early.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on. The panel here.
I appreciate you more.
Yeah. My number one host. I'm hoping maybe we'll do this maybe once a week. Shoot the shit. We started off a little baseball talk. Maybe we talk more baseball next week. We'll recap the fights this week. Maybe you can talk to Ofacio. Maybe bring him on, and we could maybe do a little interview here. Maybe I could get Gabe. Gabe is good at doing that because Gabe's done it with a couple other fighters and before. Maybe we could do a little interview. Maybe even Maelo. Maybe get him some a little press and and see what happens. We'll share the video with of course and see because Maelo's a good kid. I never met Ofacio, but I met Maelo. Maelo's a good kid, and I would like.
Yeah, he'll be coming back soon.
Yeah,
in August, hopefully.
Yeah, and because his last fight he lost, but I thought if he was more active, he could have won. It was to me it was there for him to win, but so
absolutely,
hopefully, we see him come back. You know what I'm saying? So
learning experience.
Yeah, and then maybe I'll hit up Choo Choo too and see what's up. I was gonna wait to see. I'll probably still wait to see when he gets a fight lined up, and maybe that'll be the perfect time to maybe bring him in and maybe talk to him.
I believe this channel has a lot of potential to see a lot of big names. We're gonna surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
So just keep tuning in.
Yes, sir. Where is she? Where's she? Hold on 1 second. She sleeping? Oh. All right, buddy. Well, let me go. It's the birthday, my queen's birthday, and I gotta go and handle my business. And I gotta but yeah.
Lay the smack down, Tom. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Liz.
And it's my son's birthday too, so happy birthday. So yeah, once again, Big Sock, appreciate you. I'll be hitting you up maybe later on before I go to sleep, or we'll talk tomorrow.
Sounds good, sir.
All right, bro. So
Thank
I
you for everything.
appreciate everybody that came through today, and in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully next week we'll be on again. Make an open panel. You guys can come on, talk some shit. We could talk sports. My man Rod, I see you in there. He's a big Astros fan. Houston Astros fans. He's in Houston. It'd be nice. I have a friend. Me and Sock, we know somebody that's an Astro fan as well. So maybe that'll be pretty cool. We could talk some baseball. But yeah, anybody is welcome. We'll open it up. You know what I'm saying? This is an open panel to talk any type of sport, not just boxing. Football's around the corner. So yeah. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, for coming in the chat, supporting, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Or you may see me in a chat near you. So be safe, everybody, and have a good night.